Hello there, fellow crafters. In this YouTube hop, we are featuring designer series papers and suites from the mini catalog. Hopefully you have yours by now and you are enjoying it, and hopefully putting in some orders so that you can make for this fall and winter season of holidays coming up. I will tell you that I'm gonna mix and match some of the bundles, if you will. I'm not necessarily going strictly by the bundle. I tend to go for those papers that catch my eye first. If there is a stamp set that I like that goes with the bundle, I'll get it. And if not, I won't. Sometimes I'm on the fence about that. And so before I just invest in the entire bundle or even the suite, in some cases, I'll just get the pieces that I want. And I know that might cost me a little bit more because when we bundle these items, we tend to save. So let me go ahead and show you what I am going to be using. The first thing that I saw when I opened this catalog is this gorgeous paper from the Merry and Bright. It's actually called Merry, Bold, and Bright Suite. But this particular designer series paper got my attention. It's called Merry, Bold, and Bright. It's a 12 by 12 pack, and I could not resist. I love off the model or non-traditional Christmas colors, and this particular pack of paper does not disappoint. But what I also love about it is that the flip side, as we'll see in a moment, can be used for any kind of occasion. This doesn't have to be just for Christmas. So I feel like I'm getting a good deal when that happens because I can use it for whatever I want. But it is literally the bold pattern of colors in this paper that drew my attention, as usual with Stampin' Up! Designer Series paper. I mean, we don't expect anything less from designer series paper by Stampin' Up! I'm also going to be using the Merriest Trees bundle. So I did get the bundle, the stamp set, and the dies. So I'm going to be kind of mixing and matching a little bit here, but this didn't have any coordinating designer series paper. So I thought I could certainly get a lot out of this stamp set and bundle with the dies along with this paper. So, but the first thing I want to do before I start in on the actual card is to show you exactly why this one caught my attention. Even from the book, I knew this was going to be spectacular. Whenever I get a pack of designer series paper, I like to go ahead and cut my card bases using the colors that coordinate with the bundle. And this is going to show you exactly why. It's just stunning, in my opinion, these bold, bright colors. I tend to favor the bold collection of colors from Stampin' Up! Every once in a while, some others will get my attention, but I seem to be drawn to the bold. So on your or within your pack of designer series paper, you may have noticed on the back, along with the title, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit, along with the title and the dimensions of the paper, there's also a list of the coordinating colors. So you don't have to guess at what matches with this particular paper. So I went ahead and cut out some card bases based on that list. And I want to show you exactly why this comes together so beautifully. So with this particular stripe pattern, this would be something that I could use for non-Christmas type cards. It's a nice masculine palette too, if you think about it. But we have Blueberry Bushel. I just want you to notice how beautifully the colors start to pop out. We have, I believe this is Pool Party. We have Shaded Spruce. It's just gorgeous. We have Granny Apple Green. And we have, I believe this is Lemon Lime Twist. That's a beautiful palette. And I like to do this because even if I'm not sure which one I'm going to use for my card base, I already know what my coordinating inks could be, as well as any embellishments or even my layers. When I do quite a bit of layers, I try to keep some type of layering going on with my cards. So I have that right here. I love this palette. Now let's look at the flip side of the paper. Same palette. or similar palette, but it's in the Christmas trees. And so that's our Christmas season part of the paper that I think is really pretty. All right, let's look at this pattern. Beautiful, bold polka dots. So we have Poppy Parade. We have Melon Mambo, which I always think is a very bold combination. Almost need shades. It's so bright, right? You need to wear them. It's so bright. Here we have Flirty Flamingo. It's a hot combination here. We have Crushed Curry, which kind of settles things down a little bit. Crushed Curry is in our Regals collection. So it kind of settles these hot, fiery colors down just a tad bit. But look at that palette. Is that not gorgeous? All right, if we were to flip this over, we have the Christmassy side, and we have the Poppy Parade. And let's see, is this Granny Apple Green? Nope, I believe this is Lemon Lime Twist. Now that's really bright. If I were to use this side of the paper, I would try to tone this down just a tad bit because that I really do need shades for this one. It's so bright. It's a really bright pattern. Okay, so that's the flip side of those polka dots. Let's see what else. I noticed this has 2 sets of polka dot patterns in it. Here's another stripe with all the rainbow colors, it seems like. So I'll bring back out my Lemon Lime Twist, my Granny Apple Green. I have Crushed Curry here, Flirty Flamingo, Poppy Parade, and my Melon Mambo. Look how pretty that is. And then to kind of anchor that, I always think about these colors that settle things down. As I said before, we have the Blueberry Bushel, and we have Pool Party. So you literally can almost make this into a rainbow of colors. Yeah, it's like the rainbow. Different shades of the rainbow colors, but rainbow nonetheless. All right, see how that picks up those colors? Let's see what's on the back of this diagonal stripe here. It's gonna be some pretty stuff being made with these, I can see it. This is just some simple Crushed Curry with white stars. So even that flip side can be non-Christmas occasion paper. Another set of polka dots, again, in this rainbow palette. Some of these same colors, if not all the same. So still rainbow color palette, but in a polka dot pattern. So pretty, look at that. All right, let's see what's on the back of this one. Fa la 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 la, okay, in bold Poppy Parade with white lettering. It's really pretty. It's a nice background pattern. I think these got my attention. I'm still on the fence about this stamp and die bundle. I like them. It's cute. So these are some of the Christmas lights. I remember we used to have these Christmas lights on our tree growing up. These are the hot lights, and we would have the real Christmas trees, but you had to be very careful because these light bulbs or bulbs were very hot. Okay, so we have Poppy Parade. You can see how that starts to pop out. We have Flirty Flamingo. That pops out. Crushed Curry. We have both of the greens, Granny Apple Green and Lemon Lime Twist. We have Pool Party. I just love to see how, you know, coordinating these cardstock bases or cardstock samples just makes each of the colors jump out at you. Here is Blueberry Bushel, and I don't know if I see, maybe that is Melon Mambo right there. So yeah, again, our rainbow palette, but in the bulbs. And the back side is this. Now you want to talk about bold. That's, I think, Melon Mambo and Poppy Parade. Whew, you need shades for this one, right? That's nice and bold. And I could see it being used on all sorts of things, including wrapping paper. I would wrap something in that. All right, very same take, but a different type of Christmas bulb, same colors, right? So we have the same rainbow palette or similar to the other one. I just think it makes such a difference when you're able to get your hands on the coordinating colors. So when I'm looking at the pack of paper, And in your catalog, they also list out the colors that coordinate. I want to make sure that when I order the paper, the designer series paper, that I also have my coordinating cardstock so that I can create. And if enough of the coordinating colors are together in the same collection, I'll just buy a variety pack or an assortment of that color collection instead of a whole pack of single colors. It all just depends. Sometimes I'm lucky and that happens, like Poppy Parade, Melon Mambo, and Lemon Lime Twist, and I think even Granny Apple Green, they're all in the brights. So maybe I would get an assortment pack of the brights to kind of know that it'll coordinate with this paper. Pool Party is in subtles, I believe. Blueberry Bushel is in the Regal. So those are the one-off colors. Couldn't necessarily get as much out of maybe I could out of an assorted pack, but I definitely could use an assorted pack of the Brights collection because I know several of the Brights collection colors are represented in this paper. So let's see what's on the back. Ooh, that's pretty. That's really bold and pretty, like that big pink and red stripe, right? I love this. So this is Shaded Spruce. That's a Regal. And I think Granny Apple Green. All right, that's the flip side of it. So you really can't go wrong with this paper, whether you're going to use the holiday season side of it for Christmas lights and Christmas trees, or the flip side with these gorgeous polka dot and stripe patterns that are in bold, bold colors from our collection. All right, stay tuned, and I'm going to show you a card that I'm making with these. Okay, I am going to make a card that reminds me of just a special flap fold card. I don't know if there's an official name for it, but I was inspired by Onigo Stamping. I saw, I'm blanking on her name. Oh my goodness, Heidi Collins. I saw her make this on a video, and I just tootled around with it to get some measurements that I could work with. But I was inspired by it. I love pockets and little, I don't know, containers and things, but especially pockets. And so you'll see where the pocket sort of feature comes in a little bit with this, with the front flap card. I really like this particular fun fold. So I'm starting off with my Shaded Spruce, just a basic card front. And I am going to create a triangle. Let's see, I want to make sure I'm in the camera. I think I am. I'm going to put the corner of my score line to make the card in the cutting tray, and then the bottom right of the other end, the opposite end of the card front in the score tray, so that when I cut, I'm going to make a triangle basically. Notice that I'm starting to cut in the middle, because sometimes when you don't, and if you start at the end, it'll kind of chew up this little corner. So I didn't want that to happen. So here we have our little flap. And now I'm going to choose one of these two patterns to also cut from a corner to corner, so that I'll have something to place on this little triangle flap that I now have. And I think I am going to use, let's use the polka dots. I like that one. So this particular layer is measuring 4 inches by 5 1/4. So I'm coming down just a little bit to make that layer, because I want some of the background of the Shaded Spruce card front. I still want that to show. So I'm going to do the same thing and cut corner to corner. And so both corners are in the cutting tray here. And again, the same idea. Let's start cutting sort of in the middle. And hopefully that didn't move too much on me. I'm going to save this because I can definitely use it for something else. And I think what I'd like to do here, let's see, yeah, that's not the way I wanted that to go. I'm gonna have to go this way, huh? Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go this way. That's not quite what I wanted to do. So let's see here. I guess I cut at the wrong angle for this to be able to fit. Let me see if I can do this again, because I definitely want the other side. I want the polka dots to show. That's what I'm after, the polka dots. So let me grab my other sheet and let's cut it down again. So I'm going to cut 4 by 5 1/4 inches. I'm not going to throw those 2 away. It's just that I'm not wanting that shape. So I guess I'll need to go, instead of corner to corner this way, I need to go corner to corner this way. Let's hope I'll get it this time, okay? Let's see what happens. All right. All right. There we go. That's the corner to corner that I want. And again, I still have a little bit of shaded spruce around the edges of it. Let's go ahead and glue this down. I can glue it down now. I have to do that because sometimes I end up with so many pieces on my workspace, I will easily lose things. So if I'm not stamping on a sheet of paper or a layer, I'm gonna go ahead and glue it down as soon as I can. Whenever I'm working with layers, of course, I like to use my liquid glue because I have a few seconds of forgiveness when I can move things around to get it exactly the way I want to have it. Here we go. And then I'm gonna use a background piece, and I want the side that shows the trees, okay? So that's gonna go right on what usually is the inside of the card. I have an extra layer that I'm gonna be using for the front flap, if you will, because I usually don't put designer series paper in the inside of the card, right? I usually save that for something to write on. But I now have this piece of lemon lime twist that you can tell coordinates right here with the one of the trees in that designer series paper. And I'm actually going to glue that right on the inside, okay? Let's go ahead and glue that in the inside. And when we close it, the front flap is going to actually come over the triangle, and I'll show you what I mean in a moment, okay? Here we go. Let's try to center that a little bit better. I think I got it. So it's going to close like this. I just love this fun fold. I absolutely adore it, okay? Now, let's go ahead and do some more decorating. I guess we can do that now. I'm going to use a piece of designer series paper. I'll use the same design that's back here, but I'm going to cut this down a little bit. So this front fold flap part of the card measures 3 inches by 8 1/2, and I scored it at 4 1/4, just like typical card, right? So if that's 3 by 4 1/4, I need to trim this down a little bit. So let's trim it down to 2 3/4. I just had some of these already cut. So 2 3/4 by 4. Let's see if that gives me a nice layered look that I like and I can live with. Yeah, it still has a little bit of that lemon lime poking out, so I like that. Let's go ahead and glue that down. I guess let's see what happens if I do this. That might be too many patterns. Yeah, that's too many patterns mixing right there, so let's not do that. I'll not use the stripe side, but I have more of these cut, so I might try to just flip over the patterns, if you will, but I don't want to introduce a new pattern just quite yet, okay? All right, I like the way that is rolling here. All right, now I'm going to set this aside just for a moment so that I can show you some of the cool things about this Merriest Trees bundle. So here we have the stamps, and some of them I've already taken out the two big parts of the tree. It's a two-step stamp. Sorry, I got tongue twisted there, but 2 steps here. You have the detail and then the solid tree. I'm gonna go ahead and stamp that for you, but I've already stamped one and cut it out. Here are the other parts. We have We Wish You a Merry Christmas. I love the generic kind of Christmas theme. Love and joy to you and yours. Hoping your home is filled with the spirit of the season. Some gift boxes. This could be a signpost or also the little post that goes under your tree. Some ornaments, bows, stars, some more gifts up there. A little cluster of stars. So very versatile for Christmas. If you want to decorate it up for Christmas with the ornaments or leave it plain, that's totally up to you. I'm going to kind of leave mine a little plain. I'm not going to do too much with the ornaments just yet. Maybe on another card I'll do that, but I wanted to show you how I stamp that. I'm using 2 complementary greens, shades of green, Granny Apple Green and Shaded Spruce. And again, just as a reminder, these are the colors, coordinating greens, already in my card, in my designer series paper. So that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? I'm going to ink up the solid version of the tree in Granny Apple Green because it is the lightest of the greens, right? So I'm going to use the darker green, which is Shaded Spruce. I'm going to use that for the detail. Because this tree is kind of large, I'm inking it differently just to make sure I have good coverage. So I'm doing ink to stamp instead of stamp to ink, just to make sure I have everything covered. Now I could do a bit of a stamp off to make sure it's even lighter. Sometimes I'll do that if I've gone over it a couple of times like you just saw me do there and I see some edges. I don't really want edges in there, so I am going to stamp off one time. And this is one you might need to get your little piece of foam, because it is foam photopolymer. We sometimes run into an issue with some of the middle solid parts stamping evenly with the ink. So like that's going to be darker, but I'm going to go ahead and stamp it here. Give it good even pressure. Okay. And I really don't like that. Let me turn this over and try it one more time now that I have my foam underneath. So I'm going to ink that up one more time. You get to see all my mistakes today. I'm not going to re-record this. I'm going to leave this in here because we all make these mistakes, don't we? And I just want you to see sort of a recovery. I'm going to stamp off one time. I know this is not the side I'm going to use, but using this piece of foam helps me get a more even coverage even on the stamping off. So I like that better. So definitely with your photopolymer stamps that have more solid surfaces, get that foam to go underneath your paper and you'll get a better experience when you stamp. It's a more solid experience. You don't have the splotching that happened over here when I was just stamping on my desk. There we go. That's much, much better. All right, now let's do the detail part. I wanted to show you that. And I'm going to stamp the Shaded Spruce, or the detail part in the Shaded Spruce. Just gives some dimension to the tree. And again, because it's kind of a big stamp, I'm doing direct ink to stamp instead of stamp to ink pad, if that makes sense. Now, to me, you can't do this type of two-step stamping without good photopolymer stamps, because you need to be able to see exactly where you're placing that second stamp. Now, it's not going to fit perfectly. It's just meant to give you some depth, a visual depth here. So there you go. I like that combination. You know what? I kind of like it better than the one that I stamped and cut out for you. So I've already stamped and cut with the dies this version of it, but I honestly like this one better. So let's see if I can fit this. I might try to cut this out again. And you would just use your die, and I'm gonna use a piece of masking tape to just kind of hold things together. And I'm gonna cut that out. I like this one a lot better than my first version. So hold tight while I get this one cut. All right, I think I like this one much better than my original one. And let me show you why. I like that I had a much lighter background for the solid portion of the tree. It's still, both of them are still Granny Apple Green, but I stamped off one time before stamping with the Granny Apple Green on this version of it. I did not stamp off on this one. So while both of them are still Granny Apple Green, for the solid part of the tree, you can tell a big difference. I used this foam pad for this one, which made everything ink up and stamp more solidly, no splotches. There's a little bit here, but not as much as what I had on this one, for which I did not use the foam underneath. So here are two different versions of it, and I think I'm liking this one better. I'm going to go with it. I'm not going to get rid of this one. I'm sure I can use it for something else, right? So with that being said, I wanted to show you, before I put everything together, I wanted to show you some things about this bundle that I just fell in love with. So you'll notice there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sizes or dies for trees. Okay, lots of pieces in this particular die set. And I usually shy away from that. But this one, when I saw it, I was hopeful. I was hopeful that I could actually build and stack these tree pieces so that we can get some dimension. And look at what I learned. I'm going to go ahead and put this together. So I already cut this in the one big solid one, but I also cut one from these others so that you can see how they go together. And so dreams do come true. I was hoping this would happen, and sure enough it does. So let's put it together. If we were to go by just the way these kind of nest and fit one another, this is what will happen, okay? So I started with the larger one, and I'm just putting the very next one on top of the other, okay? Can you see how that's building this really cool three-dimensional type tree, paper tree? And you have all these cool layers. I would imagine, and I'm going to try this on another one, maybe using some of the white craft ink to put some snow around it by just buffing it with the paper. But right now, to put this together so you can see it, and then I can use it again, I am going to use dimensionals to continue to pop it up and give myself some dimension just to see what happens. So I have to tell you, this is the first time I've taken these dies and the stamp set out to play with them. One of the things I like about these different challenges that we do the Roll of the Die challenge with Karan Bailey. Just started doing that. She sponsors that like once a month. Tamika Morris started this YouTube hop. She is really good with the YouTube scheduling, the playlist, and so I hope you'll stick around to see some of the rest of them. But one of the things I like about these different challenges is that it makes me stamp. It gets me out of, you know, a slump, if you will. I have to create because I pledged to participate, so I won't let my friends down, my stamping friends down. So I am kind of on the skids with my mojo in terms of my crafting mojo. So these types of challenges help me to get out of that box. And so, yeah, I've been wanting to play with these, but I had not taken them out yet. And this is my first time playing with them. I've had them for a few weeks now, since the pre-order. Now, this is going to be one of those times where you hear me say there's no such thing as too many dimensionals. This is one of those examples, and maybe I needed a smaller one there, but that's a really cool way of making some dimension, if you will, and some texture to these trees, if you notice how I built those up. Now, continuing along, I want to show you some other features of these dies. Again, there are a lot of pieces to this set of dies, and I usually shy away from that. I've learned my lesson, and hopefully I won't lose them. But we also have these little gift boxes, and I think I might do something with those on my final card. We also have this little garland that would be cute. I don't know if I'm going to use it yet, but I wanted to play with the garland on the tree. I know that one's going to kind of blend in a little bit. That's the wrong one. But let's see, the longer one would probably go near the bottom, and we could hang them, you know, kind of straight on, or as we used to do growing up, our garland and tinsel would kind of stagger from like branch to branch, if you will. This was fun to play with. I'm not committing any adhesive to it. I just want to show you the possibilities, if you can see that. I know it's kind of blending in because I'm using tone on tone, but this is the idea. So this particular die, if I can pick it up, this is the die that cut the garland. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strings, and it looks like I've already lost maybe a couple, but that's what cuts these out separately. And you can cut them in different colors if you'd like. With dies like this, because there's so many pieces, I would probably go ahead and cut out a bunch of things in different colors, put them in a little clear envelope and package it up to store with the dies, so that when I'm ready to take them out and create again, I'll have something. I won't have to start from scratch. I'll have some things already cut, because let's face it, it can be a little annoying, all this cranking and cutting, but I love the features. I love the effects of these die cuts. I really do love that. There's one more little piece. I counted 5, so I must be missing one, but here's one that I found. So that might be the last one though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm missing a little piece that I had cut that would go at the very tippy top. I'll find it. Oh, here it is. It's a little 3-dot piece of, oh, I'm losing it underneath the tree. But anyway, I think you get the point. You get the point here. But this is the little piece that would go at the top. So here's the garland. Love that. Little strings of garland. We also, I showed you the little gift boxes, so I stamped those and cut them out. Here are the solid pieces. Here's the basket that would go, the tree holder, tree stand, if you will. We have some stars. So we have a couple of stars, actually. That's a different one. And then here's a star that actually is a nice layering piece to this solid star. And I'm going to use that. I'll cut it out in crushed curry, but I just wanted to show you how they work together. And then there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3 clusters. See these 3? They're clusters of ornaments, but when you cut them out, they do cut separately. They don't come out as one cluster. You end up with 3 different ornaments. I like the way Stampin' Up! Has been doing making these little clusters and giving you more than one. These are so tiny, I would get very frustrated having to recut and cut again for these little ornaments. So we have a cluster of 3, which means in one roll, I can get 6 ornaments cut out of this paper. So I like that. I absolutely like the way that is working. It's very efficient stamping and creating, in my opinion. All right, another piece. We have these little bows, a little bow here. You see the bow, okay? We also have several stars, like North Star type, twinkle twinkle stars in the cold Christmas sky. If you're in North America, we tend to have cold Christmases in the northern hemisphere. So there are a couple of those as well. I think there are like 4 of those. A couple of them are much smaller, but looks like I didn't cut them all out. What else? Oh, you have this little tag, which I love. And then here's a little tag topper. So it cuts out like this. It already has a little score line in it, and so you reinforce your tag. So we even have a way of cutting the tag from the dies in this. So I just wanted to give you an idea of the different pieces and what you had to look forward to in this bundle. It's one of those bundles, I don't care if it ever, may one day, what do we call it, retire. This is one that's a classic. I would keep this one for a long time. So here's a little crushed curry star that I'm going to use. So here's the outline one, and this is the solid piece that matches it. And instead of lining them up perfectly, I'm just going to kind of stagger it a little bit, almost like making one of those Moravian stars. I know this is not a Moravian star, but I like that better. Now, the tricky part with this is going to be getting a little bit of adhesive and not too much adhesive because this is so tiny. It's such a narrow space. I'm probably going to mess it up, but just doing a little bit of a dot there. This would definitely be the type of die that you want to use your adhesive paper because of the small narrowed shape. So I just needed a little dot. I know you can see it. It will definitely dry clear, but that's all I need to kind of hold those together. And now I think I can finally go ahead and put this together, put this card together. So when we close this, it's going to look more like this. The front flap of the smaller card is going to close over the triangle. And so I am going to use dimensionals again. No such thing as too many. I will use that for this particular tree, the largest version of the tree. And I thought I would use some shaded spruce trees just to kind of add some dimension here. Okay. Add a little bit of dimension. And here's my star. Let's go ahead and put our star on top. And I'm going to put just a dot in the middle of that solid one. And because of these bold patterns already on here, I don't think I'm going to do a whole lot with ornaments and, the garland. I'm not going to do that because there's enough going on here. I'm really liking this play on the shades and the colors. So I'm going to leave that at that. I'm not going to add anything else. I might add, like I said, let's try to play with these little trees just to give some depth as if we're in the woods. We kind of decorated in the woods. And yeah, okay, I will add a dimensional and pop just this up. I won't build a whole other tree. But I saw this and I was hopeful that this little stacking was going to be the thing for these trees. And it is. I love it. I absolutely love it. So we'll just add this one sort of to the foot of the tree. We're in the forest decorating. When we stumble upon, or maybe we're in the forest looking for a tree to cut. And we stumble upon this masterpiece in the forest. Already a star on top. All right. That's honestly quite enough for that. I don't want to do too much. I think it's quite a bit. But let's add this little crushed curry star to our little tiny shaded spruce tree. How about that? And then I'll stop. You kind of have to know when to stop yourself. Oops. That glue is going to get on everything. I was trying to pick it up with my take your pick tool. There we go. Okay. All right. I think that's enough. Like I said, you can do too much. Add so much and not really be able to see anything. And y'all, I think I'm going to leave the gifts off too. I don't know. What do you think? I'm kind of conflicted about the gifts because it's introducing other colors. And I already like this palette. So maybe I'll keep my gifts off. But I absolutely love this little card. And I'm going to cut really quickly a layer in basic white to go in the inside. And I know that that layer is 3 inches by 4 1/4. So I need to cut this down a little bit. Move this to the side. I keep a little pack of basic white layers next to me. So that's 3 by 4 1/4, or I'm sorry, 3 by 4 inches. I'm going to come in at 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. So this is, remember, for the inside. And I'm going to use this to stamp the Merry Christmas greeting and then glue it inside like so. Okay. Now, I always do my stamping first in case I mess something up. And if I do, as you saw with the tree, you saw me do that. When that happens, I can certainly turn it over. If I don't like what happened, I can turn it over. All right, let me grab a clear block here, and I'm going to put the We Wish You a Merry Christmas greeting on the inside. And I think I'm going to keep going here with the shaded spruce. Love this shaded spruce and granny apple green combo. So let's do that again. We'll just keep that running throughout the card, the entire card, okay? All right. I love stamping any sentiments with photopolymer because I can tell which way I'm going. That's also in the shape of a tree. I just noticed that. It's in the shape of a tree. How nice is that? And I do have a star in the stamp set. So carrying that theme, and I just noticed that this is in the shape of a Christmas tree as well. Let's stamp the star in crushed curry in the same way that we included crushed curry stars for the die cut pieces on the outside. So let me grab my crushed curry here. How cool is this? I told you I hadn't opened this really. So I'm kind of tickled to notice that this We Wish You a Merry Christmas is in the shape of a Christmas tree. Y'all, it doesn't take much to get me tickled about these things when I discover stuff like this. So we're going to just set that atop the tree. And there we go. It's quite enough for this card. We don't need a whole lot else because the fold itself is already interesting, right? So we don't need to do a whole lot to this card. I want folks to really appreciate the fun fold. And again, Heidi Collins from Onigo inspired this particular card layout for me in terms of the front fold flap, if you will. Seen some other front fold flaps, but this one, gosh, I'm getting ink everywhere. Let me move this to the side because I know stuff is going to stick to this. I'm going to have to change my grid paper, but to finish this off, here we go. So simple. So simple. Just a few little cutting techniques and using this paper that's doing the work for us. And of course, these fun die cuts with Merriest Trees. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. Please stick around for our other presentations from different bundles and paper from the catalog, and I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you see something that'll spark some creativity in you. Thank you.